So my poem of choice was "Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep" by Mary Elizabeth Fry. Um, I chose this poem as I have recently gone through my first real experience with grief. I lost my brother-in-law and his brother on the same day. So I figured that this poem would be a good personal way to get some of those emotions out, as well as a little bit easier to annotate and analyze just because of the personal connection. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am a thousand winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sun on ripened grain. I am gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. So the major first thing that you notice is that the poem is really big on its rhymes and the way that it flows, um, which I think she does a wonderful job of, especially with ending and starting with a similar way for the poem. Uh, and then obviously the other big thing is her imagery for this poem. Imagery has been something that we've discussed in class prior to this. But I think this poem specifically does imagery in a really wonderful way, between like the way that she describes, like, you know, the glints on the snow, the autumn rain, the way that the sun shines, stuff like that. She really makes you feel what it's like to actually see these things after something like a death has happened. Um, and I think while this poem is mostly about grief and stuff like that, I think another way to look at it is, I mean, you can kind of look at it from two different sides. The poem balances between what a person may wish for other people to see after their death, and what a person might just subconsciously see and notice after a person dies and they continue living. A big thing with grief is that noticing things that a person who is no longer physically there would have enjoyed is definitely a big part of the process. And while the poem itself is relatively short, I think that she expresses that really well. I think anyone who's been through grief could really just notice the way that she's talking about it and the way that they've felt personally. But I think this poem was wonderful. And like I said, while it's shorter, I think that she still does everything that she needs to. She gets her point across. She expresses herself. And the imagery is just fantastic for every reader. Or at least in my personal experience, it was fantastic. And I just, I enjoyed this poem. Thank you.